Canada's energy sector is not a joke. It creates jobs for many people across the country, hundreds of thousands of people. Yet that is exactly how Justin Trudeau treats Canada's energy sector, how he's always treated it. And last week was no exception to this rule. Last week, as many of you know, a federal court of appeal effectively halted the construction of a major piece of energy infrastructure, the Trans Mountain Pipeline, by making a very controversial ruling that, as a Calgary MP, left a lot of the people in my riding just feeling absolutely hopeless. And what they need, the people in my riding, is they need a champion. They need somebody who is going to fight for them, who is going to come out and vocally support the jobs, the economic prosperity that our natural resources sector, our energy sector creates for them, for all Canadians, instead of what we saw the Prime Minister do. Justin Trudeau, after this court ruling, was condescending, arrogant, smug, and ignorant in what his role is. Justin Trudeau needed to come out after this ruling and say one thing: I will immediately appeal this to the Supreme Court of Canada. He should be doing everything that he can to bring some stability and competitiveness back to this sector, but he won't. He won't. And for that reason, out of so many reasons, Justin Trudeau needs to go. Now, I want to talk to you today about this ruling, what it means, what the Conservatives are doing to force some action on this issue, and where Justin Trudeau has left the energy sector in terms of its competitiveness in general. So first of all, with regard to this ruling, it needs to be appealed. I mean, how hard was that? Justin Trudeau wasted days sort of dancing around this issue, and that's because Justin Trudeau doesn't care about Alberta. He never has. His father never has. He doesn't care about the energy sector. He doesn't care about the people who work in the energy sector from coast to coast in Canada. He just wants it to go away. But what needs to happen is there isn't clarity in this decision. I've heard people talk about other rulings that happened, one with regard to Clyde River, another one with regard to the Chippewas of the Thames. There are other rulings that need to be referenced in an appeal, and he needs to show some fight for this, right? He didn't do that. He came to Alberta. He just, I think that Jason Kenney used the term, gave us a pat on the head. And, enough is enough. We've had enough. I've had enough. What he is doing is actually damaging to the entire fabric of Canada, and this just needs to stop. So what are we doing with regard to this ruling? My colleague Shannon Stubbs, she actually went to the House of Commons last week, even though Parliament isn't sitting in the summer, and she attempted to force an emergency meeting of the Natural Resources Committee to get Justin Trudeau and his ministers to talk about what they were going to do to address essentially what is a crisis. Now, why is this a crisis? Justin Trudeau, this isn't just some corporate decision. Justin Trudeau spent billions of taxpayer dollars to buy the existing pipeline, never mind build out the expansion of it. And to be honest with you, how did the lawyers of the government, or how did his ministers or his staff not know that this ruling was potentially going to happen? And how come he didn't think about this in the diligence that he was undertaking when he was making the decision to buy billions of dollars worth of what from Kinder Morgan? And this, of course, is evidenced by the fact that minutes after this court ruling came out, Kinder Morgan approved the sale of the pipeline all the way to the bank. Anyway, Shannon Stubbs tried to force a meeting to get some answers on this, and the Liberals used their majority. They wouldn't even allow a meeting to ask questions about this. And forget where you're at on the political spectrum. If you're a parliamentarian, you should be asking questions about how we're spending billions of dollars and how this debacle happened. So I want you today, because we're trying to force answers on this, I need you to write Actually, it would be way better if you just picked up the phone and called. I'll put their numbers in the description of this video. The Liberal members of Parliament on the Natural Resource Committee that did the skunk work for Justin Trudeau, protecting him by not having this meeting so that he wouldn't have to answer any questions. And those members of Parliament are James Maloney, TJ Harvey, Mary Ng, Marc Serré, I've never heard of that guy, I don't even know if he shows up for work, Geng Tan, and Nick Whalen. Geng Tan. These guys, like, can you believe that? We've spent billions of dollars of tax dollars on something and they shut down a meeting. Like, that's not doing their job. Anyway, Shannon did this. We're trying to force some answers. But this is on top of what we've been doing all along. I mean, months ago, I think this was in January or February of this year, Conservatives put forward a motion requiring Justin Trudeau to table a plan on what he was going to do with regard to this particular pipeline. Of course, the Liberals voted that down. I have a petition out that closed with regard to invoking Section 9210C of the Constitution, which would bring every aspect of the build out of this pipeline into federal jurisdiction, which would prevent the BC government from further delaying construction in any areas regarding permitting or whatnot that could still be within their scope. We have been calling on the government to refer cases that relate to the build out of this pipeline to the Supreme Court to prevent further delay. And we've been opposing, and this bridges into the last part of my video, everything that Justin Trudeau has been doing to shut down Canada's energy sector writ large. So what does that mean? I mean, there's no hyperbole in this at all. Bill C-69, this is a bill that Justin Trudeau put forward, completely changes the regulatory environment in a very negative way for the build out of natural resource projects, to the point where experts in industry have come out and basically said there will be no investment in natural resources with regard to the energy sector in Canada once this bill passes, because it takes away any modicum of certainty that a company would have on $1 billion outlay of expenditures to get a yes or a no decision. It's crazy. So he's changing the regulatory environment, making it less certain. He's put a carbon tax in place that will do nothing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. All it does is make us less competitive with the United States, where a lot of investment is going, and that's wrong. He's making life more expensive for you with that as well too. He did nothing when Obama vetoed the Keystone XL pipeline. He just sat back on his thumbs, kind of quiet, and on that particular decision. He used a political veto to veto the Northern Gateway pipeline, which had been approved with over 200 some conditions through an arm's length regulatory process. He's basically increasing our dependence on foreign oil, so there's an energy security issue there as well too. And he's doing this by using words like, oh well, we need social license to operate. Well, where is that? We don't need social license, we need an actual license, and that comes through permitting process, that comes through the appeal of court cases and a smart regulatory environment. I am just so fed up. The job of a prime minister in a situation like this is to fight for the people that he represents. And the Liberals on the committee that they don't get this. There are people's jobs at stake. And you know what? I am not going to stay quiet while the people in my riding have uncertainty with regard to their jobs. While Canada's economy continues to look lackluster because of the uncertainty that's being put in place by all of his changes and our inability to be competitive with countries like the United States. There is just so many things that he has done wrong on this file that we cannot give him any quarter. And look, even if you vote NDP, let's say you vote NDP and you don't want this pipeline to be built, you should still want some answers on why he's spending billions of dollars on a pipeline that obviously he has no intention of building, no plan, nothing. And again, regardless of your political stripe, you should have some compassion for the people in my riding who just want to work, who just want a job that they've been trained to do. We talk about equalization payments, we talk about things that many people in Alberta in the energy sector do to build a better country. A strong Canada comes from a strong Alberta, and this prime minister, he's just done everything to weaken this, and we've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough. And worse, I keep hearing this rumor that he is going to do something called proroguing Parliament, which essentially means that we wouldn't return to Parliament on Monday as we're supposed to ask him these questions. It's ridiculous. Justin Trudeau needs to go. I don't know what more to say. You need to campaign against Justin Trudeau. That is I can't think of anything else to say at this point in time. Now, that said, I'm going to do my job. I am going to be in front of the cameras. I'm going to be forcing motions like Shannon did. I've got this petition on invoking Section 9210C that I intend to present in Parliament as soon as I'm able to. We are doing everything that we can as opposition, but now, frankly, Canadians, the time is now. He needs to go. It's as simple as that. Working hard for you in Calgary. Have a great day.